The applications to dealing with women aren't necessarily hypnotizing women into doing the things you want, which I don't agree with and which I don't think is possible. There's a book by Dave Ellman where he says, any woman who can be seduced with hypnosis can also be seduced without hypnosis, in which case hypnosis is the long way around. The way that I see it is that if you're naturally attractive, you're naturally hypnotic. If you're a good communicator, you're naturally hypnotic. But I do believe as well that if somebody isn't naturally attractive, if somebody isn't a naturally good communicator, they can learn a lot from the field of hypnosis about how to be a good communicator, not just logically, but emotionally.
Which is big.
Exactly.
So how could they learn? How could I learn to be a better communicator using hypnosis?
I'll describe some characteristics of hypnotic language.
Yes.
Which are also characteristics of great communicators, like Gandhi, like Martin Luther King Jr. Any great orator will use these techniques even if they're not aware that they're doing it, because all great communication has similar characteristics. One characteristic is that your tone of voice matches what you're saying. Now, you noticed earlier when I talked about relaxation, my voice slowed down.
Right.
I relaxed myself first.
Right.
And then I started talking. I wasn't trying to slow my voice down. I wasn't trying to speak deeper. All I was thinking was, now it's time to relax you. If I were talking with a woman, and if I want her to be aroused, I would get myself in that state first.
Arousal.
Exactly. And my tone of voice will convey that. Now, there are multiple channels of communication. There's the words you say. There's your voice tone, which is the way you say it. And there's your body language. Ideally, your words, your tone of voice, and your body language are all saying the same thing. Somebody who has all three channels of communication congruent or aligned is a very powerful communicator. Anybody you see who you feel like you can't trust them or who doesn't know what they're talking about, it's usually because their words are saying one thing while their tone of voice or their body language is saying something else.
I can totally relate to that.
Words only account for about 7% of the message. Tone of voice accounts for 38% of the message, and body language, 55% of the message. When you have all three channels aligned, then anything you say will tend to be believed. Now, I've defined hypnosis as bypass of the critical faculty of the conscious mind.
Right.
There are multiple ways of doing it. Relaxation is one way of doing it. Shock or confusion are other ways. Stage hypnosis. Stage hypnosis tends to use shock inductions. Instant inductions where they surprise somebody, open up a window of opportunity where they can fire in a suggestion, they say sleep, and the client tends to follow.
Right.
Because the shock got their critical faculty out of the way.
Okay.
And another way of doing it is through authority. When people go to see their doctor, they put aside their own critical faculty because they're in the presence of a much learned authority, and they accept what the doctor tells them. If you can be an authority in her life.
When you just meet her?
Oh, yeah.
Word?
Through confidence, through how you speak, through having your words match up with your tone of voice, match up with your body language. People tend to perceive you as an authority. People tend to bring themselves into hypnosis automatically. Something called embedded commands. And if
I kind of like the sound.
an embedded suggestion or command is when you take a suggestion, like you are becoming more comfortable, and putting that within a larger sentence. So as you speak with me here today, you're becoming more comfortable with hypnosis. Now, I don't know if you heard what I did, but there was a sentence and a smaller sentence, an embedded suggestion within it.
Right.
And my tone of voice started to shift downward. When you say a sentence, it can go one of three ways. Your voice can go up, where it's, you can be confident. Something like that destabilizes the sentence. Essentially, you're saying, I don't believe that you can be confident. If you say you can be confident.
Yeah, with that inflection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Neutral is you can be confident. Matter of fact, you can take it or you can leave it. If you have a downward inflection, it's the opposite effect of an upward inflection,
right.
and it makes it solid. You can call it a command.
Right.
You can be confident.
I mean, you have the upward inflection all the time, and you know that's a question, but you don't think of it as the downward inflection being, for lack of a better term, a command.
Yes. There's something called the Milton model, which is a model of the language that a hypnotherapist named Milton Erickson used in his practice. If you go to Google and you search for Milton model, that's M-I-L-T-O-N,
okay.
model. You'll find a description of different things you can do, like what I just described, to use hypnotic language in conversation. It has been applied to seduction by Ross Jeffries. Mm-hmm. It's been applied to sales. It's been applied to a lot of different areas of persuasion.
Luke, man, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me here.
Really appreciate you coming through the men's room.
Let's take a look at our 5 takeaway points from Luke. First, learn self-hypnosis. It'll help you overcome fears and prove valuable in social settings. Second, the good news is your fear of women is developed over time and you weren't born with it. That means you can change it with self-hypnosis and other change techniques. Third, become aware of all your thoughts and all the negative things you're thinking. Your unconscious mind hears these things and they have a direct impact on your life. Get control of the negative thoughts in your head. Every time you catch yourself having one, respond with something like cancel or not in my world to take control of those negative patterns. Fourth, start to give yourself positive suggestions. Make sure they're specific, attainable, and have a desired outcome. That way you can become accountable to yourself. 5, great communicators make sure to match their tone of voice to what they're saying and their body language. Incorporate this congruence into your communication for a powerful impression. And remember, if you're naturally attractive, you're naturally hypnotic. And don't forget, there's no such thing as failures, only opportunities to learn. And in life, class is always in session. I'm your host, Mark Sparks. See you next time in the men's room.